eBay authenticity guarantee. You got to be careful, guys, and I'm going to talk to you about my experience here on the other side. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And as I mentioned on the other side, yeah, eBay authenticity program bites me in the butt. And I'm here to kind of share my experience with you. In this case, it didn't go so well. And I guess that where to start is I ended up selling a pair of shoes. Actually, Jenna listed a pair of shoes on our other account, our secondary account. And it was part of that batch, you guys remember, of shoes, that large lot of like 600 pairs or whatever it was, tote upon tote upon tote of shoes. And we're talking pretty much most of the name brands. And a lot of these shoes were anywhere between 2 and like 10 years old. And they just were sitting in this lady's garage. And I happened to hit her up at a garage sale. And knowing that she wanted $8 for one pair of Adidas, I pretty much said, well, what do you want for all of it? And threw a couple $100 out, and she said, I'll take it. And took everything home and was selling a lot of Nikes. I think we had a pair of Louis Vuitton in there. We had a lot of different Adidas, Nike, and it was pretty good. We ended up paying less than like 50 cents a pair after it was all said and done. And yeah, we had a lot of singles that she didn't have the other shoe to, but at the end of the day, we certainly made our money over and over on that deal. But we had a couple totes left out of that, and Jenna was going through it, and she came across a pair of Nike, Air Jordan 1s that were, according to the tag, were manufactured in 2020. She listed them on Poshmark. Now, I got a message from someone on Poshmark wondering, are these authentic? I'm like, well, I have every reason to believe that they are. And the person said, well, I'm not sure, that those look like repos, I guess reproductions. And that got me to do some research. So I started to really look. I pulled up this one website that said, here are 10 things that you look for to know that your Air Jordan 1s, these are like the baby blue mids, I think, or high, I'm not sure. I don't know the lingo, guys. I'm not great on shoes. But nonetheless, I did a lot of research on these shoes and what they told me to look for. I went through every bullet point in that website, and I could not find anything that led me to believe that these were not authentic shoes. So not only that, but looking up the comps, Jenna had these priced way too cheap. She had them priced for like $60 on, and these are used, by the way. These aren't new by any means. They're $60 on Poshmark, and someone made an offer. That person who was asking questions had initially made an offer if I'd take 35. And initially, not knowing the value, I'm like, well, I said, I can go 45. We just listed these. I'll meet you halfway. And that seemed like a fair deal to me. But after going around and about with this person about whether they're real and looking into these shoes go for around, I'd say, $100 in pre-owned condition. So we listed them at $80 on eBay. And of course, eBay, I think the threshold is like $75. Even if you take an offer below that, it's where you set the initial price. Because what happens is, and I might be wrong on this is just what I've seen in the few times I've been hit with the eBay authenticity guarantee tag on my listings for shoes, that like in this particular case, we had it listed for $79.99. We took an offer for $70, and because the listing was already set up with the free FedEx label situation, it was going to be sent into the Authenticity Center, which was fine with me because after reading that website, I was pretty confident that these shoes were good. Fast forward a couple days, and Jenna gets an email, and it says, your shoes are being sent back to you because they failed the authenticity inspection. And then we got a takedown notice. I don't know why they take down a listing that's already sold, but we got a takedown notice for that listing that said that the item was deemed as counterfeit. And here's our counterfeit policy. And it says what happens to your account. It says something to the effect of, since you did not know or may not have known about this policy, we're simply giving you a warning with no other effects to your account. So this morning, or actually yesterday afternoon, I didn't open it until this morning, got this box. Okay, now this is not the box we sent it in, and it's from SKC3 in 65 Oxford Drive in Wenatchee, New Jersey. Okay, so I guess that's where this authentication center is. And this is exactly, guys, how we received the shoes. Okay, these are the shoes, and it's following me, so I apologize. But these are the shoes, and in this box, there's a little notice in the shoe. It's whoever had this just folded it up looks like out of disgust, and says your item did not pass the authentication check. We're returning this item to you because its item's authenticity cannot be verified. For this reason, you may not relist it on eBay as it is in violation of our counterfeit item policy. To learn more about the authenticity guarantee, visit ebay.com, blah, blah, blah. Isn't that beautiful? Nice crease down the side, bent up. Okay. So here are the shoes. Okay. Now, these are used shoes. Okay. These are them. This is it. Okay. That's it. And the baby blue mids or whatever. I don't know. But the tag is buried deep within the shoe, so I can't really show you the actual tag, but it matches up with everything I was reading. Okay, there's wear on the shoe. I mentioned that. There's wear on the shoe. Okay, original laces, everything. Other pair. Okay, so now when I contacted eBay, and I'm going to insert a tip here without giving you the tip, so you're gonna have to figure it out. But I went on to the search on ebay.com. Actually, I went in and typed in search for eBay authenticity program or authenticity guarantee into the help and contact search. And I pulled up the chat that was linked to it. So the contact us and then the automated chat. And I typed in have someone contact me. And it offered to call me, which it did. It called me 2 minutes later. And the rep that I had in Manila, I let them know, I said, I don't think you can help me. I need to speak with someone in the eBay authenticity department. And there is one. And he kind of asked me for some information a little bit further, like what is the item number, and make sure it does involve an eBay item that needs authentication. And he said, I'll transfer you right now. And guess what, guys? I got a rep in the United States. And they are in that department, and I said, what gives? I said, there's two issues I have. What's the problem here? Now, normally, I guess they don't tell you what the problem is, but he did some digging, and he said, well, he said that they had an issue with the structure of the shoe, okay? I said, well, this is a used shoe. This is a used shoe. If you've ever owned a pair of shoes like this in your life, I think most of us have, you know that the shoe itself is a little bit more firm than the used shoes. This one, look, it has a depression right there on the top of the shoe. That's from use, guys. Who counterfeits a used shoe? I mean, maybe you can say the person that had these bottom counterfeit wore them to hell and then decided to throw them in a tub of shoes, but I got to tell you, there's not having an earthquake here. It's my gimbal, so I apologize for that. This thing, it wigs out. This is the DJI OM5 gimbal, and because I have an iPhone, it doesn't like the weighting that I have, and I have it centered pretty well. But so I apologize for the craziness, but I'm not going to go back and record that. So that's the thing. He said there's a structural integrity issue with the shoe. I've never heard of that before. It wasn't like, well, the tag was wrong, or the swoosh wasn't right. I think that was one of the 10 things to look for. In fact, it wasn't even something that was mentioned in that website. So I shrugged it off. At this point, of course, I can't do anything about it, but I told him, I said, look, the email told me that it was a warning. Since we haven't had this issue before, it was a warning and nothing happened to my account. But when I looked at my account health, when I looked at my seller status, I noticed that you guys assigned me a defect, and the defect was because eBay stepped in to take care of this on my behalf. I guess the simple fact that they authenticated this, I have no choice. They're going to authenticate it, which I think is a good program. I think it's a good thing. I'm glad if there's something wrong with the shoe that certainly it comes back to me rather than gets to the buyer and they get, they have a bad experience. I'm not upset about that at all. But they gave me a defect because they claimed that they had to step in to take care of the customer's refund. So I said, what is it? I said, is it what the email said to me, that we're going to be warned and not have any action taken against the account, or am I getting stuck with a defect? And he said, I see what you're saying. I'm going to go ahead and take care of that for you. So he took care of the defect that's associated with this. And guess what, guys? I'm not selling these. I don't need money that bad to sell something that could be deemed as counterfeit, even though I'm very certain that it's not. I'm very certain everything that I looked at on this shoe, it seems to be fine. I don't know, guys. I had no issues at all up to this point out of dozens upon dozens of shoes, similar style shoes that we've sold on eBay, and the only difference is my price point was under 80 bucks, which did not trigger the authentication program. Good news is I took advantage of the fact that we did not have a Manila rep on the phone. We had a US rep. So that issue that I was talking to you guys about on the live, where I had a negative feedback that was left beyond 60 days, which is not supposed to be allowed, which was allowed. On the 89th day, someone left me a negative feedback that never paid for my item for whatever reason and put the word old as the reason, which didn't make sense, because how can you know if something is old or new if you haven't even paid for it or received it? But according to eBay's seller protection policy, we're covered when a buyer doesn't pay for our item and they leave a negative feedback. That's supposed to be automatically removed, but yet I called, and after a week and a half it was still there, even though I was promised no, it's going to be taken down. And mind you, I went through the process on the website, ebay.com, their tool to ask to have this removed, made my case, and they denied it, okay, which didn't make sense to me. So all the while, between this defect on the other account and the negative on my account, gosh, guys, I gotta tell you, Monday and Tuesday were horrible. I mean, we're talking a $200 day and maybe a $100 day yesterday. And as soon as, it's so strange, guys, as soon as he removes the defect on the other account, before I even got to ask him about the negative feedback on my main account, I had 3 sales spill in back to back to back with him on the phone. And of course he removed the negative, and I went from, I think at the time I had about $150 in sales. This is about 11 o'clock this morning. And as of recording this video on Wednesday night at about 10 o'clock Pacific, I'm at about almost $800 in sales, guys. It's like something switched, like a switch flipped. And God, I don't know, guys. There's no way for me to ever know. I think sometimes we take our own experiences, we listen to what other people say, and we kind of form our own conclusion, and that's kind of what I'm doing right here. But I'm a firm believer that your account health is so critical to your items exposure and where they appear in a best match search. I'm sure that I'm low priced on a lot of my items, so it's irrelevant how my account health is when someone's sorting by best price plus shipping. But as far as best match search goes, that's the search that is default to most buyers who really kind of don't even pay attention. That's important, and I'm a firm believer, guys. Things keep happening. As you guys know, I probably have more things that happen to my account than most people even talk about on YouTube. That's because I'm transparent. I share the good and the bad. But whatever it is, my sales are back, and they weren't, almost 800 in sales, and if you combine the last 2 days, I wasn't even at half of that point. And that's right after, here we go, another 7.1 earthquake with this gimbal. I tell you, I don't understand what's going on. But your account health is, I think, right up there as being one of the most important things. That's why you got to strive to be top rated. That's why you got to strive to limit the number of defects, even though you may not be over that 3% threshold, that little bar that they say puts you in a bad zone. I think having multiple defects, like maybe when eBay steps in to approve a return, or eBay steps in to refund on your behalf. Let's say that there's a site problem and you can't refund someone, you have to have eBay step in. Well, because they stepped in and it's not your fault, that still counts as a defect. That's why you have to be on top of your account health. Go in and dispute every single defect that's on your account that isn't your fault, because there's probably, for many of us out there, that type of thing happening. It's hurting our account, it's hurting our placement in search, and it's hurting our sales. And for some, I'm thinking maybe a very few, but if those very few look into it and get those things corrected, you may just see an uptick in sales as compared to where you are now. Now, what am I going to do tomorrow in sales? I don't have any idea, but I went and picked up some more merchandise because, you know, I kept looking to buy merchandise even though I was having bad days. I didn't panic on Monday, didn't panic on Tuesday, and I figured, you know what, I'm going to keep buying for two reasons. One, I know I have a feeling in my mind that I'm going to get my sales. I mean, it's impossible for me to believe that 6 months, here it goes. I mean, we're having an aftershock. I apologize, guys. This gimbal, I tell you. I'm a firm believer that the last 6 months that I've just been tearing it up, guys, averaging about 450 a day between the good days and the bad days, that it's not just all of a sudden going to stop overnight. And yes, I've had a couple bad days here and there. You guys know about a month and a half ago, I had a day with 0 sales, but yet averaged $14,000 in sales for the month. Had a $1,000 day the next day after having 0 in sales. And other sites were having problems, other sites, but other YouTubers were having problems with their sales on Monday and Tuesday. And like for one YouTube channel, their switch flipped, and their sales came back, just kind of like the way my sales came back today. So there's going to be a lot of things going on, a lot of intangibles, a lot of things in your control, a lot of things out of your control, and all you can do is press ahead, focus on the things within your control, maintain your account health, maintain older listings, make sure that the title's right, the photos are good, the price is right. Think of the things that you can do and stop worrying about the things that eBay is doing behind the scenes that I'm sure is hurting a lot of us out there. But what can you do? If you can identify what's happening, take advantage of the tip I gave you to get a hold of someone in the US. I'm not going to say it again. You're just going to have to go back and look at it because it's there. You have to kind of follow my steps and get someone that can look at your account and maybe go over your defects if there's some defects there that shouldn't be, because that, I believe with all my heart, guys, and I wouldn't just say this to blow smoke. This is just my experience. Take it for what it's worth. I really feel like the things that happen to your account, both good and bad, affect your account health in good and bad ways on the platform when it comes to best match search. But I gotta say one last thing, and you guys know that this is yet another example of how flipping ain't easy, and I want you to check out one of these videos and also be there on Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna have another great live stream, and I want you to be there. So take care, everyone.